Welcome to Kidney Health Interview. I'm your host, Natalia Karpenko. Each week, I interview a guest who is a kidney patient, their family member, organ donor, or healthcare professional. Our goal to empower every kidney patient with the support and education. Join our podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Natalia. I'm with RenalMate, and today we're having a conversation with Anel Aguirre, and she will be sharing her story of being kidney patient and how did she overcome her struggles and her success stories. So hello, Anel. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing really well. Just working from home today, so doing good.
I know your story a little bit, but I think in today's podcast, I really want to dive deeper and find out more about your journey as a young girl who faced CKD and ESRD, and we'll start from there.
Okay, so like you said, my name is Anel. I'm 35 years old, and I was diagnosed with kidney disease at birth. So just a few days after I was born, I was diagnosed with kidney disease, and my journey has started since birth. Um, and at the age of 12, so a little bit before that, when I was born, they didn't diagnose me with kidney disease. And what happened is that I was only born with one kidney, and that one kidney actually didn't develop. It stayed small, and throughout about 12 years, it didn't, just didn't, didn't develop any further. And at the age of 12, I needed to go into dialysis, and I needed a transplant. So I don't remember a lot. All I remember is always being tired all the time, having to go to a lot of doctor appointments, having to do a lot of testing, and a lot of meetings of my parents with my doctors. And I always remember always being surrounded by a large team of doctors. And I was never scared because, again, this was since birth. So I was used to it. That's been my life. My whole life, I've always been surrounded by doctors. So I was never scared. Um, I don't know how I found out or how I heard about a possible, surgery. Obviously, the transplant requires huge surgery. So I remember thinking, you know, just I don't know why. I just remember thinking that I didn't want to do it because I was scared of the surgery. But I mean, I was only 12 years old. What did I know, right? So it was end of July. I want to say like July 30th, around there is when I had the surgery to do the fistula. This was in 1996. July 30th, 1996. I had the surgery for the fistula so I can start dialysis. And then just a few days after that, I started dialysis. And I remember on a Thursday, probably August 29th, it was around like 6 p.m. and we received, and by we I mean my parents received a call that a kidney had arrived for me. So I was only in dialysis about 5 weeks. I had luckily and fortunately that I had a very short dialysis experience. But I remember, going into dialysis and being tired. I had to be out of school for the whole month and a half that I was in dialysis, or prior to that, because of the surgery, I had to be out. I don't know why my doctors decided. I guess it's not really up to them, but just the circumstances. Surgeries were always scheduled during school time, like not really during vacation. So I had to miss a lot of school. I think the 3 years that I was in middle school, I missed maybe like half a year.
Yeah, that's a lot for a student, right? Because when all your friends and all your peers out there studying and preparing for exams, you feel like you're missing out. But Anel, I want to take you a little bit back on your experience as a young teenager going through symptoms of ESRD, end-stage renal disease, and that time pre-dialysis. Um, how did your family or doctors explain to you what is dialysis, and how did you what was your experience, if you remember, starting dialysis? Was it scary, all these needles, or the clinic environment, or was it kind of normal and almost common for you to do that?
To me, sadly, it was normal. To me, it was not scary because it was normal to me. Needles were very frequent, so needles were, I guess, just frequent. I mean, I wasn't scared of needles. I wasn't scared of anything. Although, even though, like, I've had, few surgeries and needles and this and that, the only needles that I'm scared of are the vaccine needles. I don't know why. They're the smallest thing, but like IV needles and like even the dialysis needles, I was never scared of. Um, Again,
You were one brave girl. One thing to say: as big as a needle, as better. So that's a good way to position your.
But I think it just goes back to because, I grew up with that. Since I was born, I was always surrounded by doctors and needles and tests and surgeries and this and that. So to me, it was just normal. Another thing that I had to do, to survive. So that's my experience with that. I do remember though being really tired. I remember like in my childhood, I hardly play outside, hardly, do running like a normal kid. Um, Other than that, I don't really notice, other symptoms other than just being tired, not being able to focus. At school, my grades were not that great. I probably was getting like D's, C's, D's. And once the transplant came, I started getting A's, getting better grades, and had a lot of energy. As soon as I came back to school, my grades changed drastically.
Yeah, that's such a success. Just knowing that through your childhood, you have to go through so much pain and hospitalization, and you wanted to do better in school, but that feeling fatigued, tired didn't really allow to, put so much focus and attention to this. And then transplant help you to focus on education and probably, gain that energy that needed to play with kids and just enjoy yourself better.
Yes. Yeah, I remember instantly when I received a transplant, this instant energy that I never felt before because, I never had, normal kidneys ever in my life. I've always had this small kidney that was not working properly. And so I was always feeling tired. And then as soon as the transplant happened, I had all this energy that I've never had. And I remember the doctors telling my parents, like, okay, this is normal for a transplant patient. You just need to make sure that she's not doing a lot of activities, a lot of running, not yet until she fully recovers. Because, I mean, it is a huge surgery. So, but, you just feel this energy. It's like you can't stay still because you have this energy that you never had before.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And it sounds like a superpower that you gain that you never had before. And many of us take for granted when we think about our best health. And only to experience appreciation for what we have, we need to go through the time when we not feeling great and then gaining that energy back. But on your side, you didn't have a choice. You were born with undeveloped kidney and other conditions you were fighting, and that was your normal. So actually getting healthy was very not normal, and you totally took advantage of it. So tell tell me more about the surgery itself. How did you, as a child, took the news? Did you fully realize what is kidney transplant is? Did you know that it's another person donated kidney or someone passed away? Did parents explain to you, or did they try to protect you from that aspect of kidney donation?
I think they try to protect me. My parents, I don't remember them ever talking to me about surgery. I remember just hearing from, I guess, overhearing the conversations between the doctors and my parents. So I remember just kind of being scared of the surgery. So I think, in a way, I think my parents did good of not telling me I needed a surgery, or, talking to me about when the surgery was going to happen and when it was going to happen. So, but I remember clearly it was on a Thursday night, um, when my parents got the call, and we rushed to the hospital. Very next day, Friday morning, August 30th, I was getting the transplant. And no one told me. My mom just told me that, oh, we're going for more testing. Of course, I don't think any more of it, because that's just my normal, right? So, okay, let's go. We went. And again, like the whole surgery preparation, like, drinking the thing to like just clear you up, preparing you for surgery, again, was not out of the ordinary for me, because a lot of tests require some kind of fluids like that. So I didn't think any of it. And then so I remember that morning, it was like around 3 a.m. They're wheeling me into the operation room. And I remember they stopped at the 6th floor. I already knew 6th floor meant surgery. I mean, I know the hospital as if, it's my second home. So I already know what each floor represents, right? So we stopped at 6th floor, and I knew it was surgery, but I wasn't scared. Like, something in me was just in peace, right? So,
Did
yeah,
you pick up the vibe from your mom? Was your mom nervous, or your dad? How were your parents handling this?
I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure they were super nervous. I mean, it's a huge surgery, so I'm pretty sure they were nervous. But I didn't capture anything, I guess. I mean, I was just going with the flow. So I remember very clearly when I woke up after surgery, I pointed exactly where my new kidney was, and I told my mom, "Here's my new kidney." And she was amazed, because she's like, how do you know? Like, we never told you. How do you know you had a kidney transplant? And I just knew it was right there, exactly. I pointed exactly where it is. um but I remember staying in the hospital for about 11, 13 days, something like that.
Yeah, that's a long time. Just maybe because a child, or did you end up with any complications that?
Not that I remember, or not that I know of. Again, I was a child, so they weren't telling me anything. Um, but yeah, I remember being in the hospital for like that long, maybe 11, 12 days, something like that.
Right,
Um,
and you've been used to this, right? So hospital environment was just very normal.
yeah, normal. I mean, until this day, I mean, sad to say, but it's normal for me. Um,
Yeah,
but as I get older, I'm more scared of things, because I'm more aware of the, I don't know, I guess, side effects and things like
yeah,
that.
risks, right? What can happen, and when the child, we just dive into, you know, we just react and
Oh, yeah,
respond
we just
to
go with the
things
flow.
against us.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really, sad on one side that you had to experience all of this long hospitals in and outs and get used to those environments. But on another side, it seems that kept you well organized and just, going with the proper procedures, going with all the needed tests, to be able to manage a kidney disease.
Yes.
So parents play a very significant role in care management of their child, emotional and adherence management to medication, to the stays in the hospitals, any additional treatment. So what do you remember from the part of your parents taking care of you and helping you to manage kidney disease, educating you about kidney disease? Any bright memories and any possible tips for parents who are listening us so they can do, better care or better understanding of their kids if they're going under similar things that you went through?
Um, from my experience, I remember my mom having to stop working just to take care of me, take me to doctor appointments because pre-transplant, I had to go to dialysis. So I had to go to dialysis about, I want to say 3 times a week. So obviously with a work schedule, that's not really possible. And I couldn't take myself because, I was a child. Mom had to, um, you know, uh, just let go of her job and fully take care of me. Um, and then I have a sister too. So, it's kind of tough. Um, but she left her job and took care of me full time, took me to dialysis, and then post transplant, took me to all my doctor appointments, made sure that I was taking my medication on time, made sure that I was I was eating what what I needed to eat. Based on the diet. No, like no sodium, things like that. While being in dialysis, I remember not being able to eat potassium. So she had to, I guess, they changed the recipes a little bit. Like for example, soaking, potatoes extra time overnight. To take out the potassium. Um, having just to switch things around a little bit just to accommodate what will benefit me. And then I don't know, I think that's really much it. I mean, I don't know, my mom, I don't know how she did it. I mean, both my parents, but my mom, wow, like she just every hospital stay she stayed with me, took me to all my doctor appointments, just took care of me.
Yeah, that's that is just so important at that stage of life. When you need your help, you have parents who are very responsible and they put your health as a priority. And
Yeah.
it's always admirable. I have very similar story. I was a bit younger when my parents need to take care of me, and my mom quit her job and stayed with me in hospital. And at that time she was 26.
Oh, wow.
And she was very young person, but I assume your mom also was in her early 30s, right, when you went through your...
Actually, my mom was in her early 40s. My mom was older when my parents got married. She was 29 and had me when she was 31. So she was in her maybe 42, 43 when this was happening. But I mean, throughout my whole life, I mean, my mom had to always stay with me in the hospital and, surgeries and whatnot. So both my parents. I mean, my dad will also take me to doctor appointments, but like the mom is more the nurturing, I guess, parent. So I don't know. I mean, I like both taking me to the doctor, but I noticed my mom significantly being more present.
Yeah, so it's hard not to take for granted when we are kids, that care from parents, and sometimes they're extra cautious because they're just thinking about, anything possible can happen to their child that already went through a lot. But I think when we get more mature and older and start thinking about having our own kids or have our own kids, we kind of build a different perception and different appreciation for what they've done in our lives, especially your own experience, taking you through surgeries, hospitals, and keeping the spirit up, because that is the most important, to be hopeful, to be consistent and stay positive. So talking about the part of the recovery, so surgery went successfully well, you went back to school and you start getting your good grades. How else your life improved? Were you able to play more with kids? Were you able to focus on some studies that were not passion of yours before the disease? What did the transplant allow you to discover in your life?
So as soon as the transplant happened, I did notice a lot more energy. And then once I went back to school at that point, I was out already for, I want to say 4 months, probably like 4 months. I was out for 4 months total. I went back to school and they had me in doing like tutoring and staying after school or during lunchtime for the teachers to help me. I had great teachers. They put in the time to, just make the time to help me catch up with everyone else. And I remember I caught up pretty fast because now, I came back with all this energy and being able to focus. And I started getting straight A's, going from like C's and D's to like getting straight A's to the point where like, my classmates wanted a copy of my work because I was getting good grades and I was understanding everything that was happening in school. Um, but one of the downfalls of that, of being out of school so much, I didn't know anybody and I didn't have any friends, because the kids, they're kids, they don't understand, why are you out so much, why aren't you here? So they just don't understand. And they don't understand why you're so young dealing with an illness. But I managed to make some friends here and there, but not not how I would probably made if I was there full time. Um, but I guess for the better, like it helped me, just stay focused in school and get good grades and um, just I guess improve that because that was suffering prior to pre-transplant.
Yeah, yeah. And, I'm just so proud of you because it's hard. It's hard to be in school in general, right? Without even illness. Going back to the school years, what are your dreams? Where you want to study, whom you want to be? Did you have a particular profession you were
So
looking to pursue?
yes, growing up, because I was surrounded by doctors, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a kidney pediatrician doctor because I wanted to be just like the ones that have helped me my whole life. But soon enough, I discovered I don't really like science. It's not, I guess, not my thing. Um, I do okay. I do well in math, but just science, I just couldn't get past that. So once in high school, I had this teacher. He was very encouraging and very inspirational, and he introduced us into like politics and things like that and government. So I became interested in that, in government, politics, and just wanted to explore that more. And so I remember when I graduated high school, I said I want to study constitutional law. And so I went to college, and not to the college I wanted to go to because um, I had I had applied to a college not so far from home, but my mom was still like, no, you're not going anywhere. I need to make sure you're taking your medications and you're doing well, and like you have to still stay close enough for your doctors and this and that. So I ended up going to a local college and I studied political science. And then once in college, I discovered I like arts. I like fashion and stuff like that. So I couldn't decide on a major, so I just ended up doing dual major. So I did political science, and then I did also art and emphasis in fashion merchandising. So that's what I did in college. But now I wanted to go to law school since like when I graduated high school, because I wanted to study law that interests me. But once in college, I took a research and writing class, and I'm like, this is a lot. And I was already, I guess getting burned out because I was taking a lot of classes because I wanted to finish fast, and I was working. So I think I burned out myself, and so I decided not to go for law school. But now at 35 years old, I regret not doing it in my 20s because I would have probably had more energy in my 20s. I probably would have had a lot less responsibilities than what I have now. But you know what? I'm still alive, and it's never too late to pursue your dream. So um, I want to pursue that.
That's excellent. And it seems you had a long journey to really define your destination and see different things to gain perspective. So with your law school, where are you at in your process? Have
Right
you
now,
already prepared for the exams, taken exams?
I'm prepping to take the LSAT. I'll be taking it in November, and I'm still working on like my personal statement, like my whole application process. I'm already in contact with some schools, but so just I guess just just in the application process. They're not due until a couple months, so I'm just there now.
Yeah, that's exciting. So keep us posted. One thing in conclusion of our today's conversation, you shared with us your journey as a child going through CKD, ESRD transplant. How many years you've been living with your kidney, and how things are now in your health, in your well-being?
So I've had the transplant now for 22 years. It's going into 23, August 30th. So in about 2 months, a little less than 2 months, it'll be 30. I'm sorry, 23 years, which is great. I mean, it's steady. It's been steady for the past 10, 15 years. Um, it's been good. Right now, they did Alloshare. I don't know if you've heard of it. So it's like to detect like antibodies and um, to detect if there's any possible rejection. They did a test a couple months ago and came back that I did have possible rejection. So, but it might not be accurate. They're going to retest it next week. So hopefully it was a wrong reading and I'm still good. I mean, besides that, all my test results are good. Everything's steady and looking normal. Um, so I'm hoping to keep this kidney for another 23 years.
That's incredible. And you're taking care of it really well. So,
And it's been a really good kidney. I mean, in 3 more years, I've already had the kidney as long as the original owner, I guess, the original person had it in his body.
on one side, it's so important. I think you mentioned previously in our other conversation about honoring the organ donors and knowing more about what the kidney went through, because now this kidney seems been belong to you longer. Yeah.
Almost as long as he had it. Yes,
Yes. So
that's amazing.
yeah, that's amazing. So Anel, any feedback of any recommendations you have for our listeners who are going through similar journey you went through?
Yes, I think just staying positive and always believing that things happen for a reason. I think that's what I believe, that things happen for a reason and there's a purpose behind it. In my case, I think my purpose, for being born like this, I mean, with the kidney disease and just going through this journey, I think my purpose is to help others go through it, just how I went through it or even better. um but just because you have kidney disease doesn't mean like you can't achieve things in life. And just stay focused on your goals and work towards them. um Always making sure that you're doing everything that's in your hands to stay healthy, through diet, exercising, which I need to implement more in my life because because of work and studying and this and that, I don't have much time to exercise, but I need to find the time because you need to make time for yourself, for your health, for your sanity, for your overall health, your mental, your spiritual health, your health, your medical health, everything. Because if you're doing good, chances are, your health will do good.
Yeah, that's so true. Such a good advice. And, I think the biggest lessons and biggest inspiration, seeing role models like yourself. You had a strong spirit. You went through a lot in your teenager years, and you are very dedicated to make a difference in life of kidney patients, as well as remain your health and fighting for that.
Yes.
So really great to have you on this podcast. I really hope in the future conversations you'll join us for the podcast, and we can hear some of your ideas, thoughts, and expertise in other topics about kidney disease management and, staying positive.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Likewise.